Hard drive capacity for Western Digital is sold out for 2026. WD's CEO revealed during a company earnings call that they're pretty much sold out of HDD production capacity for all of this calendar year, with firm purchase orders from their top 7 customers. WD has also signed long-term agreements, LTAs, with 2 customers that extend into 2027 and 1 into 2028. This demand is driven almost entirely by AI data centers. Cloud revenue now accounts for 89% of WD's total revenue, while consumer revenue has shrunk to just 5%. Let's take a moment and wrap our brains around that. And obviously, it doesn't quite work like this. But at the Western Digital factory, okay, as the drives are rolling along the conveyor and dropping into the bucket at the end of the conveyor, those drives, they're all done now. 1 out of 20 is destined for a consumer. What? 19 out of those 20. So for every hard drive you see in a consumer system shipping today, 19 more are going elsewhere, with 18 of them headed to the data center, to the cloud. Hard drive prices have already surged nearly 50% in the last 5 months, according to Tom's Hardware, following a similar pattern to RAM and NAND, which are also in shortage because of the current AI build-out.
Yeah, I figured this out unintentionally. I was trying to help someone configure a build, and the performance, was not very important. So I actually recommended the core most important thing was hard drive. So I recommended to get a hard drive. We checked the used market, because of course, and I was like, oh, everything's really high. I feel like these are just people expecting too much value, because the used market around here is
I know what I got.
Is not, yeah. The used market around here is not always super vibrant for everything. So it's okay, let's jump on stores, because I've seen literally during Scrapyard Wars, where it's actually cheaper to just buy a new drive sometimes, which is whack.
Yep.
But that has happened.
It's a thing.
So okay, let's just jump on the stores. Then I was like, what is going? Why are the hard drives so expensive? And then I started diving into things, and I was like, oh no, it's coming again, isn't it?
I found 3 WD greens, 2 terabytes each, from just to give you some idea of how old they are. They have archived footage from when we were at the Langley house on them. They were the old cold storage drives.
Yeah.
So each of them only has, I think, around a few dozen power on and off cycles and a couple hundred power on hours. I bet those are worth close today to what they were worth then.
Which is so messed up.
Completely wackadoodle.
Oh. Dan, chime up. Say it.
Yeah, sure. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, but
yeah, my NAS is they're nearing their 5-year kind of scary age.
No.
And I have 15 terabytes in there.
Oof.
I'm gonna be poor.
How much is that gonna run you right now?
Oh my God, Luke.
Please check.
Luke.
I'm working on it.
I have
a WD green is worth $80 for a 2 terabyte. Ooh. That's nuts. Okay, so no, they're not as bad as they would have been 12 years ago or whatever, but that's too much to be paying for a 2 terabyte drive.
You said 15 terabytes, Dan?
Seagate Barracuda is what I have in there right now, or Exos, something like that.
Oh God,
they might be the same thing.
Exoses were kind of cheap for a bit. Okay. In fairness, 4 terabyte drives are around the same price. Here's one from Seagate for $90.
No, he needs 15s.
No, I know. Sorry, I'm just talking about those stupid greens.
Is this a phase where you would expect to upgrade? Or are you looking for 20s?
If there's 20s, I didn't do the math recently because power on hours weren't getting too crazy, but I got to think about it. I was looking at SSDs and remortgaging my left kidney.
Yeah, that's...
So yeah, 18s for a red Pro NAS drive is $400.
That's probably cheaper than it used to be.
I'm seeing $400 to $700 depending on the models.
Yeah, that sounds about the same.
But I'm also not seeing 15s.
The sweet spot seems to be a little higher than 15 right now. The
it's
20,
about 20.
The 20 terabyte is 420. Nice.
Okay, so I'm fine then. Sick.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You're good.
You're buying 15. How many
Five.
of them?
Five
of those.
I mean, that's still
$2,000. And this
Yes.
is US dollars, sir.
Oh, okay. That's because I remember paying about $400 a drive 5 years ago.
Yeah, sorry, brother.
Canadian.
I'm seeing on the Canadian site. I'm seeing Iron Wolf Pro 20 terabytes for $600.
Okay, that's not that far off. He's getting 30% more capacity for about 30% more. It's not better. It's not like it
Iron
used to
Wolf
be.
Pros too.
It's
Pretty
not
good
like
drive.
it used to be.
Price was always the same.
Where the price would always go down per gigabyte. But we talked about this. It keeps coming back to that bloody video I made where I was like, YouTube Premium should cost more money or whatever. What was the
I don't
premise of
remember
that?
the title.
But basically I was like, hey, look, you got to understand Moore's Law is dead. The law of storage being cheaper is dead. This platform costs more and more and more and more to maintain. The more people use it, something's got to give.
Well, it looks like I'm not as homeless as I thought I was going to be.
Just a little bit.
John McGee, 1996, asks, is this going to get worse or is there any indication of balancing out type of situation? Hold on, just give me 1 second. You can't see it, but this is... Just going to polish my ball here. Going to gaze into it.
Consult the orb.
We're going full gaze here. I don't know.
I thought you were going to give some whole impassioned speech about trying to tell the future and stuff.
Nope.
And then, I don't know. That was good.
Like, and the thing is, obviously, I was kicking myself for not just stockpiling a bunch of DRAM, right? But I've been in this industry for so long. Do you know how many times I've heard the DRAM's going up, it's going up, and what, for a month or two, it'll trend up for a little bit, maybe for a quarter or two. But it always comes back down because at the end of the day, it's people who, they earn their money working on all the forecasting for all this crap years in advance that mostly have done a pretty good job over the years of predicting where demand and supply is going to go and making sure that they're striking a balance between maintaining the profitability of their fabs and also not oversupplying or not undersupplying the market, making sure that they can supply all of their big customers, including direct to consumers. And I don't think there's a precedent for them f***ing it up this badly. Nobody saw this boom coming, and there is no quick fix. There's no let's just, I'm trying to think of a game where built, Anno. There's no Anno just plopping down a new fab, and then you run a little road to it, and now the supply chain is fixed. It just doesn't work like that. So I don't know, because the bubble could pop, and if the bubble pops,
all these purchase orders just be sitting there.
They, as far as I can tell, they what are you going to do? What's that famous saying? If you owe the bank $1,000, you have a problem.
If you owe the bank, if you have a loan from the bank for $20,000, that's a you problem. If you have a loan from the bank for $20 billion, that's the bank's problem.
Yeah, and
it's not the exact quote, but something like that.
Something along those lines. And in the same way, if this whole thing just crashes, there's literally going to be no one to fulfill this $1 trillion RAM order, or whatever magic on paper money has been exchanged in advance, or whatever commitments have been made. So if anything, there will be a huge crash in the pricing of this stuff, and it'll be a free RAM for all. But when that will happen, I have no way of knowing. If any, from my point of view, and I'm not a finance guy, right? I'm a tech nuts and bolts guy. From my point of view, we should have all figured out that this is not going to result in the kind of the kind of revenue generation that would justify the investment that's going into it ages ago. We should already be there. So I'm just sitting here going, well, can I stay solvent longer than the market can stay irrational? The answer is no.
Yeah, Dan, check your email. Fullpin Chat's cooking.
Are they finding him deals?
Mm-hmm.
I think I actually just need 4. I think I might actually just need 4, which is kind of nice.
Sick.
Oh, get shocked. Seems like a great idea.
Mega Cool asks, hey, question. Are tariffs responsible for this consumer hardware shortage at all? Or is it really just because of stupid AI?
Just AI.
Tariffs aren't helping.
Yeah, but it's a shortage globally.
Yes.
So like,
tariffs are not helping.
no.
I can tell you that much. But the shortage is a much more macro problem that is not to do with a tantrum that a particular world leader is having at a particular moment.
Does this affect you guys as a channel? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
In like
Every day.
so many ways.
Constantly.
And every day. This hobby has never been more difficult to get into.
No, I actually wouldn't say that.
Ring true.
It's never been more frustrating to participate in.
Yes.
I'll say that.
Yeah. It was definitely a lot more difficult to get into in the like much more further past.
In the AT days.
Yeah.
Where would you find resources to learn to build?
And I mean, there was laptops that were $3,000 in like the early 90s.
Yeah, you go way back to like the hobbyist days.
Yeah.
And I mean,
so never mind. Ignore that part.
Even from a pricing standpoint,
but it sucks right now.
You can still buy a sick game. I mean, I told you we've got that $1,000 gaming PC video coming. You can still buy a sick gaming PC for $1,000. We went to David and I. This video is coming out really soon. I talked about this one. We went to Costco and we bought a great computer for like $1,250 US or something like that. It's a very capable little gaming machine. AM5. Like modern platform gaming machine with what was it, 9600? I think it was the XT, 9600 XT. Perfectly cromulent gaming card. I played some Expedition 33 on it, and I was like, "Yep, this is a gaming PC," and that's really great. It's really amazing that you can get into it like that, but it's also really frustrating that we had it so good for so long, and it feels like it's been torn out of our fingers. And the reason is the hard part. Like if Moore's Law was just dead and everyone was doing their earnest best to overcome it, and the answer was fake frames, I think everyone would go, okay, sure. But
not everyone, but
not everyone, but I think you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But if the reason that this stuff is not affordable and the reason that we're going the direction that we're going is because, I don't know, you, Sam Altman needs more RAM, then I think that's a lot harder to swallow. It's a lot harder to be passionate about, to get excited about.
I also think that, I mean, if companies like WD are having 5% of their revenue be consumer, and you see more patterns like what Micron did happening, where these traditionally known in the Western market brands, that's how I'll say it, start kind of exiting. I'm not saying Western Digital's exiting, but Micron did for reasons that Western Digital is experiencing. So it wouldn't be unreasonable to see other brands do a similar thing. I think maybe in a really weird way, one of the saviors of the desktop PC market might be China.
Oh.
Because there is a consumer market.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
So like if certain brands are just going, well, all the money's in data center, well, that's not true. It's just there's a crazy amount of money in data center. So like, I don't know, somebody's going to step in, and there's a lot of very hungry Chinese companies trying to get into computer components. So like,
I think it was Hardware Unboxed that made a video on one of the Chinese DRAM companies. Hardware Hardware unboxed. CM or CX rather. Hold on. CXMT. XMT YMTC. I think one of them did yeah. 32 gig King Bank KFRW DDR5 6000 CL36 Soar Blade CXMT review. Hardware unboxed. And it was like fine, I guess. That could help, but I don't think they have a ton of capacity, at least not right now.
Not right now.
Not right now.
I'm not talking about right now.
But that's the thing about China is how long did it take them to build hospitals during COVID?
Like days or something. China builds hospital in 10 days.
That was nuts.
That is nuts. That is nuts. And this is a different type of scaling and a different type of building and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But like, if there's opportunity there, somebody's going to chase it. And if the traditional brands are going data center, that doesn't mean consumers are out of the market, right? Like we're still here. There's still a big market. We're still hungry. We're interested in things.
There's still billions of dollars to be made selling to consumers.
And I think consumers are probably less loyal than data center is. If data center uses something and it works,
oh, dude, it's crazy.
that's where you have all those quotes of like nobody was fired for buying IBM.
Yeah, dude. AMD has been, well, okay, it's not as cut and dried as AMD has been better than Intel in server for years, but they've been a very compelling option compared to Intel for years and years now, and how slowly that market share shifts compared to consumers who just seem to be able to or willing to pivot a lot faster. It's less relationship and contract forecasting driven. It's more like I go and I see what's good right now. It's like recommended by my enthusiast buddy. I want more FPS, you know? Like it's a very different decision-making process.
Super Whisk says, how long until NVIDIA just gives up on GeForce? I don't think they will. And my reason for that is largely geopolitical.
Really?
I think they are much more geopolitical than a lot of the other brands. I think, in my opinion, NVIDIA is extremely invested in Taiwan's market dominance and wants to hold themselves there.
But why do they need gaming for that?
Because I think they would take anything they can. And if they can take data center and gaming and anything else, I think they'll grab it and hold on to it.
I think they will continue to make gaming GPUs, but for a different reason. I think that for many years, the gaming R&D fueled the data center products, and now we're seeing that kind of flip around where the data center R&D on things like machine learning is fueling advancements on the gaming side. But I think it's less about geopolitics, and I think it's less about Taiwan. And for me, I think it's more about tradition. I think there's, at least as long as NVIDIA's leadership remains as it is, I think there's a lot of ego and a lot of pride. And I don't necessarily even mean those in really negative ways. I think that GeForce dominates gaming is a point of personal pride.
Oh, absolutely.
And part of the origin story of NVIDIA, such that if...
This is definitely part, if not the majority of it, for
if
sure.
anyone were to challenge NVIDIA in what has been traditionally, for the longest period, their stomping ground, I think NVIDIA sees the gaming market as essentially their birthright at this point, and fuck anyone who tries to take it from them. I think they would cut open their money bags and bleed it rather than lose their dominant market share in gaming, quite frankly, because we've seen them do it. When AMD was competitive, they were willing to do anything. Sometimes it wasn't even just to sell more GeForce. It was to just over anyone who tries to dare sell a graphics card. And I don't even necessarily mean that in like a negative way. I mean that in a highly competitive way. They've done stuff that I would describe as anti-competitive, but what I'm talking about right now is the competitive spirit of NVIDIA. And sometimes that competitive spirit can lead them to do things that are anti-competitive. But it's not what I'm talking about right now.
It also feels like, yeah, I mean, I think this is fair. It feels like they have more of that than a lot of companies. NVIDIA feels very raw.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Jensen takes it personally when like he loses market share.
Yeah.
And
like actually.
And that kind of passion is important from a leader. It's probably not a small part of NVIDIA's ongoing success. I mean, point at a company that has executed so consistently for like 20 plus years. When was NVIDIA founded? It was like 1990.
People also like notoriously don't quit, and
98?
like they have this internal culture of like re-education and internal classes that you can take and stuff because I don't know, it's all very interesting. I don't want to glaze NVIDIA too much when they do a lot of things I don't like. But yeah.
I mean, you can't deny that they're winners.
Yeah.